the truth of what I've been doing?
Yeah.
So over the weekend, today's Monday, over the weekend, I decided I wanted to eat other things other than all vegetables. So I ate junk food, not all junk food, some tomato soup, things like that. And I have taken my aloes though, and still done my Japanese red pine needle and the fulvic acid, but I haven't focused as much as I was doing the first 10 days on that. Even though I did take it, I haven't slacked on the
supplement side.
Just on the food side.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that, although maybe it's the obvious thing, is that I do feel like, kind of similar to your example of your friend, that I felt about 30 hours of where I noticed that when I was getting up, I mean, usually when I get up, I like almost have to grind my teeth. It just is such a pain, you know. It's like I have to hold my breath almost to get through it to where I walk better, and then I get the gears loosen up and I can go better. So I noticed that it was easier. I felt a little bit of a ease. But when I ate some things that were high in sugar or flour this weekend, it felt like I could feel pain, like again, like when I was, and I mean, I'm really trying to pay close attention to exactly my level of my condition. So I pay attention to the good and any effects that I may be able to be getting from this process. And most nights before this adventure, as I'd be laying in bed, like I'm hurting, just laying there, or I wake up hurting, or I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm hurting. And so I was hurting some.
Over the weekend.
A little bit.
But it had dissipated.
Right. I felt
somewhat
like,
based on diet.
I felt like it did. I mean, and of course I'm doing these now. This is whatever my second week of 2 in a row. I felt like I had noticed that there was a decrease in pain. Now, this pain has always been like a fluctuating pain. Some days are much worse than others.
Right.
So I can't say that it was long enough of like a decrease in pain.
Yeah.
But you know, to make any sort of conclusions really, but I noticed it at least.
Well, that's why you're doing 16 and not 6.
Right.
Today's only number 5.
Right.
So you're still early on.
Is that right? Number 5? I don't know. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Today's number 5.
You've only done 4.
Yeah.
4, so you still have 12 left.
Right.
So you barely scratched the surface, man.
Yeah.
So you're drawing conclusions way too early.
Right. I can't draw a conclusion.
No.
You're just
noticed, observing.
Right. I just noticed, and it was a hopeful notice. Of course, like I said, I chose to not eat as healthy over the weekend.
Yeah.
But
it's all right. It's okay. Nobody cares. No one in TV land cares. Does anybody care?
I might as well be honest with it.
We don't care. She might as well be honest. Wow. She's a very honest person anyway, so that should be easy for her to do. So her work is very easy, to be honest and come and do these colonics and take whatever supplements she feels like taking. Pretty good. pretty darn good, if you ask me. Is anybody asking me? No. This is just a movie. We're just making movies. Poop movies.
Can you tell by what's coming out that I ate poorly?
No. I could really shame people.
I know, I do it enough to myself.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to do it for me.
Well, that's something you have to stop. The shame is at the level of a parasite. It's a parasitic emotion, shame. It's a wormy emotion.
Because when I ate poorly, the voice in my head was, the negative voice was much stronger. It was much more predominant.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because I've always been such a confident and like it really doesn't, and I understand the emotional intellect. I understand emotional intellect.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's not always easy to apply.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe kind of like the cartoons that one of the parasites have taken over, and then they're actually thinking your thoughts, and they have little stick things that are controlling your body.
Well, this is a
making you eat sugar.
that could be true. A cleanse is an interesting process. I mean, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people, besides just they don't know or it's difficult, that the mind and body might have a resistance to some degree of a cleanse, including colonics and things like that, is because it's not easy to shed things. It takes a revealing, it takes emotions can even come up and things like that were buried in toxins or food or lifestyle or whatever.
Mm-hmm. What? Cramping?
Yeah, it hurts.
Well, it hurts because you didn't need any of this stuff in your body, and it does hurt when it comes out. But this worm food.
Oh my God.
Plus there's a little bit of some fungus. It's got a foam in it.
So that's where the digestive enzyme would...
Yes.
I mean, I've got some in my car. I've been taking, but I haven't taken them in the last few days.
Mm. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have the protein digesting enzyme?
I should have brought it in here.
Do you have the protein digesting enzyme?
I don't know. I should have brought the bottle in to show you.
There it goes. It's all one colonic, right? This isn't trick photography.
Yeah.
And we get to a point where if you've had worms come out, you may have them coming out right now.
I wanted to be clear, like on this video, that how many people could be affected by parasites. So it's not just some do, even though it's just so gross, but it's not some rare thing.
Well, we're just taking one story and saying, hey, this actually has happened to one person.
Yeah.
We don't know how many other ones, but we know it's happened to one. So that we're documenting it. We're saying, you know what? We do this all day long. I do this all day long, and I don't film it all day long. I see it all day long. I see this much volume of fecal matter come out. That's why I ended up writing books on the topic, because it's like, wait a minute, this can't be right. Come to find out, it's not. There's too much poop. There's reasons for it. And they're cultural reasons. They're not just dietary, they're cultural.
How so?
Well, it's the advancement of transportation, the use of farming chemicals throughout the entire country, the rise of genetically modified seeds, the use of massive amounts of petroleum chemicals, the massive amounts of antibiotics on animals, the use of chemicals everywhere in our society. So the body has to process that. It doesn't just ignore it. And therefore, there's issues that just by living in a certain country, you're more likely to have certain diseases. NPR, National Public Radio, said that there's so many rare diseases now. The people in America that have rare diseases are in the millions. So millions of people in America have a rare disease. One thing that modern medicine doesn't acknowledge is that there could be a parasite. Now, I'm not real that there's one thing modern medicine doesn't acknowledge is that there could be a parasite behind some of these conditions. And I'm not saying that there are, but I'm just saying we know you have a parasite and we know you have a rare medical condition. So, so this is just one colonic. It's a lot of poop. So if you hadn't come in today, you'd just be walking around with all this poop in there. You'd be like, oh, no big deal, I'm fine, right? You could have done this colonic or not done this colonic. You weren't like, oh man, gosh, I have to do a colonic.
No, I was not.
So now that you've been here, can you see
Yes.
the reason why you're coming back and repeating this? You were just here last week and you did 2 colonics.
Yeah.
So now you're back and you're releasing a whole load of poop, and so you, right today, we just discovered you're walking around full of poop and you don't even know it. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. So we've made a discovery right here, and it's all on film. And this happens to me all day long. I just don't sit here with a camera. It is too tedious to have to film every single colonic. Forget it. It's discomfort.
Yes.
You're like crampy?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be crazy if more came out?
Cramping and just like, uncomfortable.
So we were talking about being disciplined, and I just wanted to make a note to the camera is that discipline really, none of us are very disciplined, but what makes a difference is understanding the reasons behind why you might want to do a certain thing. Like, I could tell somebody, don't eat at McDonald's, or, I mean, you could eat at McDonald's, or don't eat at Wendy's or Burger King, or, you know, fast food, I wouldn't eat that hamburger. So then it's like, okay, now I'm going to have to be disciplined because I can't eat fast foods. Then you're kind of mad, you're disappointed, you want to eat fast foods. Now if I were to say, the reason why you don't want to eat fast food is because they're putting antibiotics in the food. They're feeding the animal antibiotics. So when you eat the food, you're on low-grade antibiotic dosage. What that does is that impairs the intestinal flora, and if you understood why the flora are so important to supporting your immune system, your well-being, your happiness, your overall health, your ability to digest and assimilate food. So if you eat just one meal at McDonald's, you're impairing all your other meals for the entire week. So now, I used to love to eat at McDonald's, but I don't go there now simply because I'm not willing to be that impaired.
Right, I get it. It definitely does help having a basis of an education behind your decision, so you don't feel cheated or like you're missing out, but you're making a choice because you want to.
Exactly. So what's coming out now is a little bit different. We're getting more mucus type slime out of you.
What's that for? Why?
Well, your colon secretes mucus as a internal protector, and it does build up in the colon. I've seen massive amounts of mucus come out of people, and when I say massive, I mean ropes. It looks like lettuce leaves, but it's not lettuce. It looks kind of like seaweed, but it's not seaweed. It's old buildup of mucus that sort of sloughs off. Sometimes it's braided, and it's braided because I believe the fecal matter passes through the colon in a twisty manner. Or why would it be braided? But a lot of times it just comes out looking like big whole leaves of lettuce, sort of green, translucent gunk. Okay, so the question is now that all that stuff's out, is her colon clean? I said no, it's not clean because there's like fists of fecal matter that get pushed into the walls of the digestive tract. When I worked for a chiropractor, I was taken into the room of the x-ray room to look at some of the x-rays, and you could see the outlines of the colon on the x-ray, and they were like filled with like grapefruit, fist-like pockets of something pressing out the colon wall. So a lot of times when you do a colonic, that stuff can spill into the colonic water from a pocket, and the age of some of that fecal matter or the amount of time that's been in the body is, you can't calculate it. It could be decades. Could be weeks. But it's definitely not less than 48 hours, not less than 72 hours. And, you know, I'm not making that up. That's in a lot of medical literature, or non-medical literature even.